Just share one experience. Just a few weeks ago, I was here and we finished voting early, and I decided to go out for a walk around the Capitol building, one of those beautiful fall days we've had here in Washington. And as I was walking down the mall, I walked past the World War II Memorial, and I stood there, and I was looking at all the people that were there, and older people, they were standing there and looking at the Pacific side, the Atlantic side, and I was trying to think through my mind what they were thinking. Were they remembering a friend, a colleague who didn't come back? A lot of them were sharing that experience, obviously, just by looking at them with grandchildren or even great-grandchildren. And you could just see the memorial and the pride and the tears in our veterans. And as I continue to walk, if you continue to walk, I went down to the Korean War Memorial, and that was one that my family personally has experienced. My uncle, 12 years before I was born, was killed in 1952. So my grandmother and grandfather always taught my family of the sacrifice that veterans made, particularly the sacrifice they made in their oldest son in the Korean War. And then as you cut across the mall, there's Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address, which a lot of us, the Gettysburg Park, but it was dedicating a cemetery and the words of Abraham Lincoln to our veterans. And then the one that is just so moving, as I was walking back, went by the Vietnam Wall. And as you see families at the Vietnam Wall, a lot of them will take a piece of paper and take a pencil and sketch out the name of someone. And as I was watching them do that, I was standing there going, is that a husband that didn't come home? Is that a father for a child they never met? And you're just trying to figure out what people are thinking as they're honoring our veterans. And then turn to head back to get back for an evening meeting. As you hit to the Capitol building, you understand what it's all about, because the thing you see most and foremost is the dome under the building, over the building which we're standing in. And I remember walking back after having these moments with veterans and remembering veterans and looking at the dome all the way, walking back and seeing, that dome, it's opportunity, it's freedom, it's hope, but not just for us, it's hope for the world, that people look to that dome throughout the world. And it hit me that the mall is the story of veterans. And the reason the mall is the story of veterans and memorials to veterans is because this country, this nation, and this dome and this symbol is about freedom. And we wouldn't have one without the other. And it was an emotional day for me as I was walking back. And I've been talking to schools, as I mentioned just earlier during Veterans Day. And I talked to them. One of the things I did this Veterans Day, talk about Francis Scott Key and the Star-Spangled Banner and the history and the actual meaning of those words in that song. And I always end it with, I'll never pretend that I can improve on Francis Scott Key. But the last line, I said, it's the land of the free and the home of the brave. I said, we need to think it's the land of the free because of the brave. And so I think it's important that our students are taught, and in our home state of Kentucky, Veterans Day is a school day, but it's mandated that each school teaches about veterans by being in session on Veterans Day. So it is important to do that, and that's why I think it's important that we do this across this country. And I ask my colleagues to support this resolution, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves the balance of his time. The gentleman